And so I've seen you speak to the press in Australia about what you want next, and it's clear that you want the belt. And it's not so much about Michael Bisping. You said you just want the belt. If his neighbor had the belt, you said, I read this, you'll go after his neighbor. But unfortunately, there's a bit of a logjam, as you know, at 185. Do you think it's realistic that you will get the belt, or are you willing to wait, even if it takes several months to see this whole situation play out, because that's what you want next?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I think with my last performance, I showed the world that I deserve a shot. I did something that no one else in the division has done to, a fighter that hasn't been stopped in that way since, it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of the dudes are trying to just scrimp their way to having that shot by waiting it out, by sitting out, and by doing these little political maneuvers. But at the end of the day, they're running out of time. I am not. This is the beginning of my run. This is the beginning of my first run. This is the beginning of my career, just about. And if it's a time race, they're not going to win.
Yes, you are just 26 years old and born in 1990, which kind of blows my mind. But so does that mean, in other words, that you are going to wait? Because let me tell you, we spoke to Michael Bisping's manager. He was on our show earlier, and he said that he thinks that fight, Bisping versus GSP, is going to happen fall, winter. So we're talking about at least 6 or so months, if he's correct, before the fight actually happens. And then you have to wait for the guy to get better and all that. So this could be a year. Do you really want to sit out for a year in the prime of your career?
Well, it's not. If you've had a look at my past fight history, I don't seem to take fights on a rush anyway.
Yeah.
I like doing things and taking fights when my body's ready. I sit in the program, I train, and I'm just making huge skill jumps. And that's the biggest point for me right now as a fighter, and as for my longevity of my career, is that I need to make these close these skill gaps for all these high caliber dudes.
Okay.
How can I try to catch up with the Jacare's jiu-jitsu at my age? I need more time to do things.
Okay.
So the time doesn't faze me because I'm always staying active. I'm always trying to get into competitions, and I'm just furthering my training. And in between every fight, I'm making huge skill jumps. But it becomes a thing where, why shouldn't I wait? Because the champ has called me out.
Yeah.
To have that in my pocket, and then to have the time that I have, and the fact that he called me out, and the fact that I just come off an upset win, a very, very strong win in devastating fashion. Everything says you should just wait for that fight to ride out.
Yeah, that is right. Michael Bisping did kind of say that he thinks you deserve the title shot over Yoel Romero next, and I'm sure you're not going to argue with that. Good to have the champion say that of you. Do you think that he is saying that because he views you as the easier opponent? How do you take that?
I'm trying to think and work out the machinations of Michael Bisping's mind is a bit beyond me. But I think he does see that he owes me a fight, and what I did on the weekend, he's not looking past.
Right.
But whether or not he I think he might think I'm an easier matchup. Yoel's got a lot of hype and ride behind him as well at the moment, and I'm sure some part of him does think I'm an easier matchup. But I love surprising people.
And just curious, if they come to you with a Yoel Romero versus Robert Whittaker #1 contender fight, would you even entertain that at this point?
I don't see why I should. To be honest. It's I think because I think I've lined myself up and I've set myself up perfectly for that next shot. And the fact that Bisping has called me out on top of that is just cards in my favor.
Yeah,
cards in my favor that I should just sit tight, do what I'm doing, and be prepared for that title shot.